Eventually, the substitute fans worked well enough to finish the procedure. After checking that no data had been lost, the technicians turned Tut over to the workmen, who carried him back to his tomb. So they used the substitute fans, the extra fans which the workmen had brought, and the scanner started working, and they took all the data, and then they turned Tut over back to the workmen, who carried him back to his tomb. Less than 3 hours. That means how much time did it take? Almost 3 hours. He was removed from his coffin. The pharaoh again rested in peace. He was put back to his tomb almost after 3 hours, where the funerary priests had laid him so long ago. The mummy was put back into his burial place, where he was laid long time ago, more than 3300 years ago, by the then funerary priests. Back in the trailer, a technician pulled up astonishing images of Tut on a computer screen. So, astonishing images, very surprising images. That means the author, when he saw the images, he got awestruck. A grey head took shape from a scattering of pixels. Pixels are the picture elements. So all scattering of pixels, when came together, they took shape and made a grey head. And the technician spun and tilted it in every direction. Neck vertebrae appeared as clearly as in an anatomy class. So now one could see the neck vertebrae. Neck vertebrae means from the neck, the whole backbone, all the ribs and the all set of bones were clearly seen as in an anatomy class. Other images reveal a hand, several views of the rib cage, and a transection of the skull. So everything was visible, clearly visible now. One could see each and every bone of the body of mummy through those images, be it hand or rib cage or head, in all ways. But for now, the pressure was off. Now pressure was off. From whose shoulders? Zahi Hawass. Sitting back in his chair, Zahi Hawass smiled, visibly relieved that nothing had gone seriously wrong. One could see that he was smiling, he was happy to know that nothing had gone seriously wrong. I didn't sleep last night. Not for a second, he said. I was so worried, but now I think I will go and sleep. Zahi Hawass was the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, and he believed that Tut's mummy was in bad condition because it was mishandled by Carter. So under his vigilance, the mummy was CT scanned for an accurate forensic reconstruction, because he wanted to see whether any part was lost or not. He was worried about the results. But when he scrutinized all the visuals created on the screen, he felt greatly relieved. So he felt the pressure off from his shoulders. Now he could go to sleep. He was not worried at all. By the time we left the trailer, descending metal stairs to the sandy ground, the wind had stopped. Earlier it was windy when Tut was taken into the trailer, but now when it was put back into its burial place, the wind had stopped. Descending means climbing down. The winter air lay cold and still like death itself in this valley of the departed. Now, winter is a traditional symbol of death. So here, the author has compared death with the winter air, which was still and cold like death. When a person dies, he lays still and cold. So that comparison has been done by the author here. In this valley of the departed means where so many mummies have been found. It is known for the mummies, for their burial places. Just above the entrance to Tut's tomb stood Orion, the constellation that the ancient Egyptians knew as the soul of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, watching over the boy king. Now, people of Egypt, the ancient Egyptians had always believed that the constellation Orion as the soul of Osiris, the god of the afterlife. The author could notice that Orion could be seen just above the mummy's tomb, that means Tut's tomb, as if he was just watching over the boy king. He was protecting the boy king. So this was all about Tutankhamun, and the discovery of Tutankhamun was a sensational news to the world because of the riches which were found with it. But later, the world wanted to know what had happened to the boy king, how did he die, and many other associated things with his life and death. So the concept of archaeology has changed with time. Earlier, archaeology was related to finding out things, especially materialistic things, materials and all. But later, with time, the concept has changed. That is to know more about the life and death, the reasons of death of those mummies which were found so far.